Never having had the pleasure of knowing Ken Kesey except through presentations of his public persona and a brief correspondence, I can only speculate what he actually imagined the nature of the prank to be. But it was a concept my friends and I grasped intuitively, if not necessarily correctly, loosely imagining it as something like a dictate to keep the normals on their toes. This was an idea that possessed us body and soul for decades, and indeed, I'm not sure we ever gave it up so much as we had it ebb away from us, as we came to resemble ever more closely the prankies rather than the pranksters. And this may well have been true of Kesey as well. But it sure never looked like it from where we sat in the cheap seats, digging his act and just enjoying the shit out of the fact that he was still up to his old tricks, even if the prank now seemed somewhat less than the platonic ideal we had once dreamed it was. And it still remained forever beyond us, although it could seem tantalizingly close at times, to imagine the fullness of what it must have been like to walk in the prankster's shadow when he was young and at the height of his powers and on a tear, pouring salt into the wounds, right straight into the goddamn wounds of J. Edgar Hoover, live on the radio with Roger Grimsby. Any guy who could do that, who would do that, who would say that while he was on the run from those fucking G-boys, knew more things than most of us ever could about making the bastards churn in their spermy bathwater. And we viewed Kesey's hubris as its own beautiful reward and something like the most perfect prank imaginable. Because it always seemed the true nature of the prank itself was not necessarily benign or even safe, and if this fact was one lost on my pothead pals, it was also one that achieved a certain clarity after you'd spent enough time crawling through the bubbles of acid time, discovering the genius of creation lurking in acts of destruction or even annihilation. Anyway, all I can offer in return for all the knowledge and all the fun and all the thinking I received from Ken Kesey is a salute to a man who made the world a finer place for living, and a hope that his memory will sustain the many more generations of pranksters this planet surely needs.